good evening. This is Rachel from IPASS Processing, and with me tonight is Sir Mike Cardiel. He is our NCLEX passer, and he will tell us about the strategies that he used during his NCLEX examination and probably tips. So, Sir Mike, we would like to know anything about yourself. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, Sir Mike?
Sure. Before I will answer your question, hi everyone. Welcome to our listeners and who are currently streaming online. Um, Ma'am Rachel, thank you for having me here. I am very excited, and you are such a blessing in our nursing community because you are using this platform to spread positivity and you serve an inspiration to everyone. Yes, by the way, I am Michael Cardiel. I am already US registered nurse not so long ago, last December 26, 2019, and I worked as a nurse for 10 years. For the past 4 years, I'm working as a charge nurse and as a clinical educator in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and I finally moved here in the Philippines.
For 10 years already, Sir Mike.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
It's been a decade.
So, were you able to use your clinical experience during your examination, or it's quite far from the actual examination?
For me, it's really far from the actual NCLEX exam because NCLEX exam is a standardized exam. So you cannot really apply the experiences that you've gained from the past. You're going to answer those questions. It's really far from the real NCLEX questions.
I think because NCLEX, as we have experienced, it's by the book, whereas in the clinical practice,
Yes.
yeah, as what we have experienced, it's not so much by the books. But I'm very grateful and I'm
Yes, you
very
are right.
proud of you that you were able to ace your
Thank you.
NCLEX.
Thank you.
So tell us about your NCLEX experience.
As for my NCLEX experience, it's really quite challenging, and I can say that it's somehow exhausting
Mm-hmm.
because actual NCLEX exam, you don't know what topic is going to show on your actual question, and it's a mix of anxiety and excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think mild anxiety is okay, but if that anxiety will consume yourself, then I think that's not a good idea. I feel excitement at the same time because I always thought myself that I will be US registered nurse after I finished my NCLEX exam. And yeah, that's my general experience.
But although you were very anxious during that time, you were still able to ace your examination. And for that, I am really very proud that you were able to make it. Let's talk about your preparation. So, how were you able to prepare, or what are the materials, or what were the things that you did prior to your examination? Because I think it really all boils down to the preparation of someone who wants to become a USRN. So how did you prepare?
Well, actually, that's a good question. And I think this is the highlight of today's discussion. Well, my preparation for NCLEX exam is really straightforward and it's very simple. I only have two steps. One is the assessment, and then the other one is strengthening your concept. In my assessment, well, in total, I prepared for my exam for 2 months. And if you're going to assess yourself, you will have actually a clearer picture as when you are going to take your exam. And I think there's a lot of US aspirants that kept on asking as to when they will take their exam. And I always tell them that it really depends on your assessment and your preparation. During my assessment, you will also identify which are your strengths and your weaknesses. And I think this is really crucial part because you will know which one you are really need to focus on. And then during my assessment, I used only two materials, and that is UWorld, which I actually purchased from IPASS Processing Agency, and then the other one is Prioritization and Delegation by La Charity. For the benefit of all, it is advantage for you to purchase UWorld to IPASS because they do it in batches and they will give you a really good discount. What I like about UWorld is there's somehow resemblance on a real NCLEX question. And every day I answer UWorld from 50 to 75 questions. And I always take time on the rationalization. So that is how I prepare for my exam. And then the other one, which is the prioritization and delegation, what I like about here is you will gain knowledge on delegating the task. Say, for example, from nurse to licensed vocational nurse or nurse to assistant nurse. And then we have also the prioritization. So you will know also how to prioritize. Say, for example, after your endorsement, which patients you are going to see first. So this is how the NCLEX is going to ask you. But unfortunately, for prioritization and delegation, I just finished until the chapter of hematology. I actually didn't finish those chapters. And then the second one, that is strengthening your concept, I opted to go to live review centers or live courses. And I attended one of the review center here in the Philippines. And it is really advantage for me because I am a type of a person who wanted to be in a group of people, and I feel so motivated and uplifting. And somehow I also gained a lot of friends and soul sisters. So if you are watching, hello to Amara, Ems, and Joreen. Good evening. And then apart from that, of course, the most important thing is the concept. What I like about this review center is they will present to you the topic in more fun and interactive way. They are using kinetic. They will let you sing, dance, and act during the live courses. So it's really fun. And I remember when I was taking my NCLEX exam, I'm doing these hand gestures to remind me the concepts of certain topics.
You mentioned about the assessment. So if a nurse wants to prepare for his or her NCLEX, when is he going to assess himself? Like at the moment that he's going to start the preparation on his NCLEX, is directly going to use the La Charity and the UWorld to assess himself? Or which part of the process is he going to assess himself?
It really depends on a person, but actually it is really highly recommended if you already receive your authorization to test,
Mm-hmm.
then that's the time you have to assess yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that is the point where you are going to assess yourself once you have your authorization to test. Because if you're going to study for 6 months, then probably you will be able to forget some of the concepts. So it is much recommended for you to study in a nearer target.
Just to recap, you did an assessment, and then after which you strengthened the
Hmm.
concepts through reviewing in a review center. Isn't
Yes,
it?
you are right.
Let's talk about the process on your NCLEX. What was your feedback with regard to the processing?
Well, when it comes to my NCLEX processing, it's actually a smooth process, and it's under the IPASS Processing Agency. And what I like about being under the processing agency is that you have a lot of time for yourself. And apart from that, what I like about being under IPASS Processing Agency is that there is support group. So I think this is one of the highlight of the IPASS processing agency. In this support group, you will be able to know which materials are really recommended by the previous passers and how the previous passers prepare for their actual exam. So it's a really motivating and inspiration journey for me. So thank you so much for IPASS Processing Agency for processing my NCLEX exam.
Let's talk about the actual examination. How were you
Mhm.
during your big day?
It's really, I'm really anxious that time. I'm really nervous, of course. I think that's normal. And actually, upon waking up, I decided to study my weakness, which
Mhm.
is maternal health nursing, and then the other one is pediatric nursing. And I was really surprised when I am actually answering the questions in NCLEX most of the questions are those maternal health nursing and pediatric nursing. So this NCLEX really smells your fear. So you really need to prepare for your examination. And then there is one moment that I don't know how to turn off my phone
Mm-hmm.
before I enter the verification process because I was really nervous the time. So it is really advisable for you to leave all your smartphones or all electronic devices, including your watches, on your home. Yeah.
So that
And
it
then
will
what
not
else?
add up to the anxiety.
Yes, yes. And then I took 4 breaks. Every time that I took my 4 breaks, I go straight into the comfort room. Actually, this is not a men's toilet because in men's toilet they don't have a mirror. But in a female toilet, they have a mirror. And I remember I was shouting USRN for 3 times and doing the victory pose, which the review center taught us to do that. So yeah, it was really embarrassing. Yeah, quite embarrassing for me. But yeah, it's okay.
But it was very effective to release the anxiety.
Yes, yes, it was.
So during your actual examination, how many items did you encounter?
Actually, Ma'am Rachel, I really prayed for 100 items.
Mhm.
So I prayed that at least it's 100. But, God is really powerful. And He did not give me 100, but 265. So I finished 265 in 4 hours and 30 minutes. It's really quite stressful for me. And I remember after I finished my exam, instead of me telling myself that I will be a US registered nurse, I cried.
Mhm. We do have the same experience because on my first examination on the NCLEX, I also had 265 questions. And during the time, I was very tired already. I was super hypoglycemic and I was just at the point of like, I just want to end this one. And after my examination, I didn't want to think about the NCLEX anymore because I was too tired to think about the NCLEX. Did you feel the same way?
Yes, I did. Especially whenever I met those difficult questions in NCLEX. Not to mention, of course, SATA, the select all that applies, prioritization and delegation. I remember too that every time that I met SATA, prioritization and delegation, I just stick on my whiteboard.
Mm-hmm.
And I always do my victory pose. So I really wonder how would I look like in the camera. So quite embarrassing.
But even with that, you were still able to ace your examination. But on
Mm-hmm.
my case, I was too tired anymore to think what is the best answer that I can give. So I just keep on answering the questions without even really thinking well what is really the best answer for this
Mm-hmm.
one. So I think because if you are mentally prepared, if you are going to prepare yourself that most probably I will probably reach 265, then your mind is already aware that this might happen. And I was caught off guard during that examination of mine. And after
Mm-hmm.
you pass your NCLEX mic, after you have already seen your, or you have known your result, what came into your mind?
I remember that day because there's 36 hours before the actual result will come.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did is I visited the churches.
Mm-hmm.
And then on that day, I remember I organized my room because I know that I will be able to live in Manila for a longer time. So I'm just preparing myself that, okay, this is the final day, result will come, and I'm very positive for this. And then from 8 o'clock, I was just playing Mobile Legends. So the time that I received the email from IPASS, and then the subject was result and then pass, I was really shocked. And I directly messaged IPASS Processing page, and then I asked them, is it really true? It's actually a surreal moment. It's somehow I expect, but then there are some point that you didn't expect the way it will happen. It's really surreal moment for me.
So it was so much unbelievable that you receive a pass result because of what you have
Mm-hmm.
encountered. But we cannot deny it anymore. You already passed the NCLEX. So after knowing that you
Yes.
passed your NCLEX examination, what were the review materials that you think helped you the most for your NCLEX preparation?
Mm-hmm. 14 days before my NCLEX exam, I only focused on the materials that was given to us by the review center.
Mm-hmm.
So it is really important for you to strengthen your concept because
Mm-hmm.
some of the questions are really vague, and without you knowing the concept of a certain topic, you'll be able to have a mistake, especially in select all the apply. So for me, in my opinion, the materials that was given to us by the review center is really helpful.
I see. So you would really recommend that if ever one wants to become a USRN, you are really recommending that one should find a very reputable review center and enroll in it because it
Hmm.
will be helpful for them.
Yes, it is really helpful. But it really depends on a person because some people, they have actually a different phase. So they would opted to study on their own, and some they opted to study with a big group. So it really depends on a person to which materials they are going to use.
Mm. So apart from the review materials, did you use any other review materials? This is for those who are still preparing for the examination. Maybe they don't have the capacity to pay for the review center or they just want to review on their own. Are there books that you can recommend that you think might also be helpful?
Yes, actually, we have what we call the Saunders.
Mm-hmm.
This is highly recommended from the previous passers too. And just like what I've said earlier, prioritization and delegation by La Charity is also helpful. And then I also heard about Mark Klimek audios.
Mm-hmm.
They are also helpful too.
Sir Mike, what are the three tips that you want to share to our future USRN?
Well, I think at this moment they already have their study plan. And for me, you have to continue that. And what I really advise you is first, you have to organize your study plan because organization is crucial in your preparation for NCLEX exam. And then you have to be disciplined and persistent. We all have knowledge. And to amplify everything, you have to have these qualities such as discipline and persistence for you to be able to surpass all of these questions or your preparation. And then lastly, of course you have to pray. And I really believe in divine intervention. If it is really for you, then it will happen, whatever it will take.
With regard to the discipline, one must really be disciplined in studying because if one doesn't have discipline, then it's quite difficult to ace your examination. So thank you very much for sharing that strategy, Mike. So this is the last question that I want to ask you. If you're going to describe one word for IPASS, what would it be and why?
One word for IPASS.
Yes.
Um, exceptional.
Except.
Exceptional because based on my experience, aside from processing my papers, of course, they taught me on how to motivate myself. And of course, the one that I told earlier is the support group. I think this is most important thing that for you to be able to be successful, you have to be surrounded with successful people. So that is one advice that I can give to everyone.
Would you like to thank your coaches, Sir Mike, with from on
Yes,
this
sure.
video? Yeah, you can mention your
Of
coaches.
course. Thank you so much. To my coaches, actually, you're too many. Thank you so much for giving knowledge and for being part of my NCLEX journey. And I would also like to thank again IPASS Processing Agency for everything. And for the knowledge of everyone, I still on the process of on my NCLEX journey, and I let IPASS do all of that. So that is how I really trusted IPASS. And of course, I'm thanking my family for their support and also my friends. Hello, everyone. I know that you're watching.
Thank you very much, Sir Mike. And what are your plans now moving forward?
Actually, I am waiting for my visa screen.
Mm-hmm.
Before I took my NCLEX exam, I already had my IELTS.
I look forward that one day you will be there in the USA and we will just be here in the Philippines supporting you guys. And we will be very
Thank you
proud
so
of your
much.
success. And wherever you will be, Mike, I will be very proud of you. I am one of those persons who will feel very proud of your success. And I'm praying
Thank you so much, Ma'am Rachel.
for all your endeavors, Mike. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening.